Greek mythology is an ancient set of stories and beliefs that originated in ancient Greece. It tells the stories of the ancient Greeks' attempt to understand the world around them and their place in it through the lens of human experience. These myths explain natural phenomena, societal norms, and human emotions like love, loss, and revenge. And they have had a lasting impact on Western culture that continues to this day. The main characters in Greek mythology are the gods, goddesses, heroes, and monsters. The gods were thought to live on Mount Olympus, and they controlled everything from the weather to the fate of humans. Zeus was the king of the gods, and he was known for his many affairs with both goddesses and mortals. Poseidon was the god of the sea, and Hades ruled over the underworld. Other well-known gods include Athena, the goddess of wisdom and warfare, Apollo, the god of music, poetry, and light, Artemis, the goddess of the hunt, and Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty. Then we have the heroes. These were usually mortals who performed great deeds and sometimes had superhuman abilities. Heracles, also known as Hercules in Roman mythology, was famous for his strength and completed 12 labors. Theseus was a hero who killed the Minotaur in the labyrinth. And Perseus was famous for slaying the Gorgon Medusa. Finally, there were the monsters. These creatures were usually the offspring of 2 or more deities, and they often caused trouble for the heroes. The Minotaur was a creature with the head of a bull and the body of a man. The Hydra was a multi-headed water snake, and Cerberus was a 3-headed dog that guarded the gates of hell. Now let's talk about how Greek mythology has influenced today's culture. First off, think about all the popular culture references. How many songs, books, movies, and TV shows use Greek mythology? For example, the band Fleetwood Mac's 1975 album and subsequent world tour was called the Rumors Tour. And the lead single from that album was titled Go Your Own Way. But when Rick Vito joined the band in 1982 as their second guitarist, he noticed that no one ever referred to the album as Rumors. Instead, it was always Fleetwood Mac's greatest hits or something else. He asked Stevie Nicks about this, and she explained that people don't want to hear a record that sounds like it as called Rumors. So whenever they went on stage, instead of introducing themselves as Fleetwood Mac, they said rumor has it that Fleetwood Mac is here to play some songs. That's because they knew that most people didn't know the name of their most popular album. In fact, the name of that album came from one of the muses. There are 9 muses in Greek mythology, each representing a different area of knowledge and the arts. When it comes to singing and poetry, the Greeks would invoke the muse Euterpe, who was also the muse of music. That's where the word euphoria comes from, which means being filled with the joy and excitement that comes from successfully completing something difficult. And Rick Vito said that that's exactly what happened when Fleetwood Mac finished recording that album. They were so happy with the results and full of euphoria that they decided to name the album after the muse who had inspired them. You can see how referencing Greek mythology is common in popular culture even today. Another example is the song Dog Days Are Over by Florence and the Machine. The lyrics say, I'm shedding my skin like a snake, which refers to the Greek monster Typhon, who had 100 heads and could breathe fire. As he fought with Zeus, the leader of the gods, Zeus would cut off one of his heads, but 2 new ones would grow back in its place. So finally, Zeus struck Typhon so hard that his body split open and out popped a bunch of snakes. That's where we got the expression "and rake," which means to vomit up snakes. So the singer is saying that her old life is over and she is ready to start a new one. Just like Typhon vomited up snakes, she is letting go of her old ways and starting fresh. But Greek mythology's influence goes far beyond just music. The names of the days of the week are all based on Greek mythology. Monday is named after the moon god Selene. Tuesday is named after Mars, the god of war. Wednesday is named after Mercury, the messenger of the gods. Thursday is named after Jupiter, the king of the gods. Friday is named after Venus, the goddess of love and beauty. Saturday is named after Saturn, the god of agriculture and time. And Sunday is named after the sun god Helios. And then we have the Olympic Games. This international athletic competition is held in honor of the ancient Olympic Games that were first held in Greece in 776 BC. Back then, the games were part of a religious festival that took place every 4 years in the town of Olympia in honor of Zeus. The ancient Olympic Games consisted of a variety of competitions such as running, wrestling, chariot racing, and horse riding. Today, the modern Olympic Games have expanded to include many more sports, and they are held every 4 years in a different country. But they are still dedicated to the ancient Greek tradition of athletic competition. Another example is the constellation Orion. You may not realize it, but if you look up at the stars tonight, chances are you will see the Big Dot constellation, which is a group of stars that form the shape of a dog. But did you know that originally this constellation wasn't called the Big Dog? No, in ancient Greece they called it the Great Hunter because it looked like a guy with a bow and arrow. And that guy was none other than Orion himself, a giant from Greek mythology who was a skilled hunter and fisherman. He was so good at what he did that the other gods got jealous and sent a giant scorpion to kill him. Now, depending on where you live, you either cannot see the constellation Scorpio or you can only see the claws of the scorpion. That's why in Greek mythology, Orion never saw the scorpion coming and was completely caught off guard when it attacked him. Speaking of constellations, the 7 stars that make up the Big Dipper asterism within the larger constellation of Ursa Major or the Big Dipper were believed by the ancient Greeks to represent the 7 original wise men or sages of Greece. And the Big Dipper itself was thought to be a giant bear. And finally, the Pleiades star cluster was called the 7 Sisters. The Romans, Egyptians, Mesopotamians, and many other cultures all had their own constellations and myths. In fact, there is a really cool website called Star Walk To that lets you explore the night sky from any location on Earth at any time. If you put in your location and the date and time, it'll show you exactly what the sky looks like. And if you click on any of the stars, it'll tell you all about it, including what constellation it's in and what stories are associated with it. So next time you're outside at night and you look up at the stars, remember that you're not just looking at random points of light. You're looking at a storybook in the sky. Well, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed learning about some of the ways that Greek mythology has influenced our culture today. If you did, please hit the like button so that I know to keep making videos like this, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.